Hello, Higher History pupils. This video that I've made for you today is to teach you about evaluation, how to include evaluative statements in your paragraphs. Now I'd like you to watch this video at least twice. The second time, make sure that you pause it to make notes on the most important pieces of information. You might also want to use the examples given in this video for your essay, which is due to be completed by the end of June. So this is your essay question that we're going to be doing, and this is what we're working on over the next couple of weeks. To what extent was the suffragettes campaign the main reason why some women gained the vote in 1918? Now already Mrs. Steele has shown you about the mark allocation. We've talked about introductions, knowledge, analysis and analysis plus. Today we're going to be looking at evaluation, how you can gain those 4 evaluation marks in your essay. Another lesson later on, we're going to be looking at conclusions, and this together will give you the 22 marks. So what we're going to be looking at today then is different ways of making evaluative statements. There are 4 altogether, and the evaluative statements will help you build up a line of argument in your essay, and we're going to be looking at words and phrases that will help you make evaluative statements. So the skills that we're going to be using, first of all, the thinking skill. You have already thought about your main line of argument, which you believe is the most important factor why women got the vote. But you're going to be looking as well at making a judgment about the importance of each of the factors. Our communication skill is where we learn the words and the phrases which will help you express your ideas and make your evaluative statements. And then lastly, your planning and organisational skills. This is about structuring your essay and the order of your paragraphs. So far you have done some planning because you have put the 5 factors which led to women gaining the vote in order of importance, and you have also written an introduction where you've stated which you believe is the most important factor that led to women getting the vote. You've also written your first paragraph, which has included a topic sentence, knowledge, analysis and analysis plus. But you haven't yet put evaluation at the end of that paragraph. We're going to do that after today's lesson. And you will have thought about the order of the other 4 paragraphs. So in the planning of your essay then, you've got your introduction that you've already done, and you've stated which is the most important factor. You've also done your first paragraph where you've written about the suffragette campaign. So today we're going to be making some judgments about the importance of the suffragette campaign that would get you evaluation marks. Now your second paragraph, you will have to write about which you believe is the most important factor. If it's not the suffragette campaign, what was the most important factor? And you put that as your second paragraph. And then your third paragraph, your fourth paragraph and fifth paragraph, you talk about the other 3 factors, but you will put in your 5th paragraph, in the last paragraph, it's a good idea to put the least important factor. Now your judgments about all of these factors, which I'm going to be making through your evaluative statements, will all lead to a conclusion where you make an overall judgment of the factors and you state which is the most important factor. We'll be doing conclusions in a lesson next week. So where does your evaluation statement come? At the end of the paragraph. And what we're going to be looking at are the 4 ways in which you can make an evaluative statement. Now, according to the SQA, what they do is they give you examples, and the first one that they've given us is that you can get an evaluative statement by using a historian's view about the importance of the factor. The second way is you can say whether or not a factor is the most or least important reason. A third way is you can compare your factor to the main factor, the one that you have identified in your line of argument. And then the fourth way is that you can combine two factors. So one factor combined with another factor becomes more important. Now, what the SQA also stipulate is that you will not get a mark for your evaluative statement unless you've included some new evidence. Now, this means that you've got to bring in something that you've not already written in your paragraph. So what you're going to be looking at is thinking about making a judgment but adding another point. Right, useful words and phrases then that you might want to use when you're making your evaluative statements. I'm going to give you some examples of the sort of way in which you can write an evaluative statement. And the first one here is starting with the word overall. Overall, the First World War, for example, was the most important reason why women gained the vote. This is because, and then you bring in your new evidence. Or another way is by starting with in evaluation. In evaluation, the suffragette campaign was not the most important reason why women gained the vote. This is because, and you bring in new evidence. A third one, you could say overall, whilst First World War, for example, contributed to women gaining the vote, this was not the most important reason. This is because. And then your last one, when you use a historian, in evaluation, John Kerr believes, you put in John Kerr's quote and then explain it. Now, what I would suggest you do is pause the video and copy these useful words and phrases down. So I'm going to give you some examples now. So here's, first of all, if you were going to be talking about a suffragette campaign, here's an evaluative statement. Overall, the suffragette campaign was the least important reason why women gained the vote. So the bit in red there is your judgment, but then you won't get a mark unless you put the new evidence. So this is because, unlike other factors, their militant actions damaged the cause for giving women the vote, and the government could not be seen to be giving into violence, so stood firm against them. So you've got this idea here of your judgment followed by some new evidence. Here's a second one. This is where you're comparing to another factor. So overall, suffragettes contributed to women gaining the vote, but were less important than the First World War. And then again follow that up with some new evidence there written in blue. This is because suffragettes suspended their campaign in 1914 and supported the war effort. This helped the cause of women's suffrage, as politicians could no longer argue that women were not worthy of the vote. And then a third example here. If you combine two factors together, in evaluation, the campaign of the suffragettes would not on its own have gained women the vote. However, taken with peaceful campaigns of the suffragists, and then here's your new evidence, whose membership numbers vastly increased as a result of militant campaigns of the WSPU, the issue of votes for women became more important. And then the final example here is where you use a historian. So overall, Sandra Stanley Holton argued that suffragists were vital in women gaining the vote, and then her quote, especially in securing the strong position enjoyed by their cause at the outbreak of war. And there's your judgment, meaning that it was them rather than the suffragettes that made the biggest contribution. So those are your 4 examples, and again you might want to use any of these examples in the essay that you're going to be writing. Right, here we see it then at the end of a paragraph. You've seen this paragraph before from previous videos. First part of the paragraph talks about knowledge. This is about the suffrage campaigns of the WSPU. You've got your knowledge, you've got your analysis and analysis plus, and then at the end of the paragraph goes your evaluative statement, where you've got your new evidence with the historian, and then you've got your judgment, and that would give you an evaluation point. Now what I'd like you to do after watching this video a couple of times is I'd like you to do the assignment that's in the assignment folder called Making Evaluative Statements, and I'd like you to complete that by the end of next lesson. I'll go through that with you in a moment, and then of course what we're learning today is going to contribute to your essay that you're writing, which is due for the end of the term. That's in the assignment folder, which you're going to be completing paragraph at a time during your lessons with the support of your teachers. So the assignment that's in the assignment folder gives you 4 evaluative statements which we'd like you to make. Now what I'm doing here is I'm giving you some new evidence, and I'd like you to turn those into an evaluative statement using the words and phrases that have been shown on this video. So here is your new evidence, and then what you're to do is take that and make an evaluative statement. So there's the first one there is on the NUWSS. The second one is using a historian about changing attitudes towards women in society. You take that quote and you make an evaluative statement. The third one is on the women during the First World War. Again, there's some new evidence for you, and I'd like you to try and make an evaluative statement out of that. And then the last one here's where you've got an example of using 2 factors together, combining 2 factors, and what I'd like you to do for this one is to find your own new evidence. So what we've done then is learned 4 different ways of making evaluative statements, and these of course were going to be used to build up a line of argument in your essay, and hopefully you will be applying the new words and phrases that you've learnt this lesson in the evaluative statements that you're going to make. So this is the end of the video, but it's really important that you watch it for a second time. Then apply what you've learnt, first of all to the assignment task, which is to be completed by next lesson, and then obviously to the essay that you're going to be writing. Now it's really important that you ask for help. Miss Steele and myself are here to help you, and this is not an easy thing to do. It'll take lots and lots of practice, won't come straight away. You will need our help, and we really would appreciate it if you ask for our help rather than struggle on your own. So I look forward to seeing what you come up with, and that's the end of the video. Go away, have a look at it again and see how you get on. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.